What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm your boy Narik Chase, and in this video we're going to be reviewing X-Men Apocalypse. Now, X-Men Apocalypse is a 2016 superhero action film directed by Bryan Singer, and it follows the X-Men who must have to do battle with the godlike mutant known as Apocalypse, who wants to destroy humanity to take over the world. This film is a pretty good X-Men film altogether, and it does work, but it does feel like one of those films that should have been a lot more epic than what it was. Now, the film does follow Apocalypse, who ends up being buried alive for centuries and then waking up in the modern day time and decides he wants to take over the world. And now at this point, the X-Men are kind of broken up, so at this point, the X-Men aren't really the X-Men anymore. Everybody's kind of gone their separate ways, but they end up having to need to unite again to defeat this most powerful enemy that the world has ever seen. And the story does have a pretty good twist in it, even though it is a bit cliche. Apocalypse is a pretty cool character, but you really don't get enough exposition on his character as to how he became what he is, how he got that train of thought. And I think the film kind of failed at being that way because it does make him as a cliche villain. There are some pretty cool twists in the story that do keep the action and suspense and the thrilling moments up, and it does work. There are some comedic moments, of course. There are some very moving moments where you do feel sorry for certain characters and events that do happen. But as a film overall, it could have been a lot better in terms of the story. Now, when it comes to the characters, of course, everybody does a good job with the characters. James McAvoy is good, Michael Fassbender is good, Hoult is good, Jennifer Lawrence is good. All the other characters are all pretty good. But of course, we need to focus on the character of Apocalypse. Was the character pretty cool? Yes, Oscar Isaac did a great job with Apocalypse. He was menacing. He did have this commanding presence about him. He did a lot of really cool and badass things, and it was even one point where I really hoped that the movie would address, and it did address, as him being such a badass that it takes everybody to fight him. I did like the fact that it did do that, and I wanted to see that. The character design I thought was pretty cool. I really liked his outfit because even though you see most of the time that Apocalypse has this technological cybernetic look to his character, I like the fact that in the film it has this ancient technology look to it, so I thought that worked for the character. And I have to say, even though I know I made a video a long time ago, which I will put in the description bar, about Alexandra Shipp playing the new Storm, and I knew everybody was just going to crap on her performance, but I actually had to admit that I liked her performance. I thought she played a good Storm, even though I wish the story would elaborate a little bit more on her character and kind of give her a bit more screen time. There are some sweet action sequences, especially the mansion sequence, which I will not end up spoiling for you, but it's one of the best sequences of the film. And again, Quicksilver is much more relevant in this film and has even some really cool moments. I really liked his character too, because his character did develop as a person. The girl that played Jean Grey did a pretty good job, as well as the guy that did Scott Summers, and you can see how their relationship is kind of blooming in this film, and I think that they did a great job and went a really good way. And I love the fact that the film does a great job of actually fleshing these characters out. It's solid because the girl Olivia Munn, who ends up playing her, is completely hot, and she actually looks like the part. But I hate the fact that the film really did not give her any screen time. I wanted to get some dialogue from her. Really didn't get dialogue, really didn't get backstory, really didn't get motivation. She was just there, and she does a good job with the character. She does have awesome moments, but I really wish that the film kind of would address that a bit with her character, her motivations, and her history. There is one really badass action sequence in this film that is just every fan that wanted to see this in the previous films never got a chance to see, but in this film they actually put it down hands down. It was great. One thing I will say about this sequence is it does not feel like it should have been in the movie, because it does seem like they just kind of pushed it in there for another sequel. And much as I like that, I have to admit that it felt like it was just forced in there, because it really doesn't contribute to the overall plot of the film. And as with most of these X-Men films, it does have action in it, but the film isn't based on the action. So as much as it could have been more epic than what it was all right. One thing I would have liked to have seen was the fact that they could have put a little bit more exposition on new characters and less focus on the old. In the end, X-Men Apocalypse is a good film, despite the fact that it does have issues with certain points of the plot that don't really contribute to the overall story, as well as having characters that could have been fleshed out more than what they were, but they weren't. It does have some pretty cool characters. It has great performances all around. There are some great costume and character designs. The visual effects were just great. The score was just great. The action sequences were actually pretty cool. I have to say, X-Men Apocalypse deserves 4 out of 5. As I've said, this is a pretty good film, and it could have been better than what it was, but for what we do have, it is a pretty good film. So guys, in the comment section below, let me know, what did you think about X-Men Apocalypse? Did you think it was better than its predecessor? Did you think it was worse? Which one of the Horsemen did you like the most? Well guys, to the next video, Narik Chase, signing out.